Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our strip where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome back, Dad Bod Squad. I'm here today with Cody and Brian. Cody, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. I wanted to kind of riff off that, Brian, help me out, saxophone exit, man. I was just ready to just keep on going, air saxophone. Brian,
you sure threw it.
You had a busy day today, huh?
I had a busy day.
Lot going on. You played some t-ball?
Yeah, I did.
Got into baseball?
I went and watched my niece and nephew play t-ball. It was very entertaining.
Started streaking?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, 2-year-old, she somehow wound up in the dugout. She was putting on helmets, grabbing back.
Running across the field.
Yeah, totally. One of the funniest things, though, was every time a kid would bat, you would either have, at any time, 5 or 6 of the kids in the field playing with dirt and, like, just throwing it up in the air, or they would all swarm the ball no matter where it is. And so that was pretty funny, you know, to see a ball that doesn't even roll past home plate and all 9 kids are like dogpiling on top of it.
That is funny. I don't know how to fix this camera, boys, but it's coming out clear for me. It's real blurry right now.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a delay too, but we'll get through it. It'll be all right.
Yeah, because I'm a little bit scared that if I leave, I'll close you guys out.
Probably. Let's just see how it goes. Maybe it'll come alive.
All right. I hope so. I try to restart my router before this and get all ready for this. Anyways, we have an exciting episode where we're going to talk about our wide receivers 11 through 20. So we're going to each go over through our ranks, and then we'll go over through our consensus. Who's my consensus person today? Cody? Great. And then we're going to I also wanted to actually, Cody wanted to have kind of an interesting intro topic to talk about. Cody, why don't you kick us off with what you wanted to get into?
Yeah, so I thought we should start getting into some dad topics periodically on here. It seems fitting. And this is one that gets me a little bit fired up. So charcoal grills have died.
Fired up! I didn't even catch it.
I'm not delayed this time. It just took me a minute. That's a good one. Charcoal grills are slowly dying, and I can't quite figure it out. Are you two gas or charcoal? Gas, 100%. Taste the heat, not the meat. Wait, taste the meat, not the heat. God bless it. Mario with the propane, sir.
Yes,
propane. And propane accessories. So what's your reasoning? Give me your reasoning. Why not charcoal? Because don't give me the argument it tastes better. That's not even a good argument. Like that's I don't like the taste. I taste the charcoal on the meat. I do.
Never that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's never that for me. It's the time saver and everything else. It's how we can do it with propane. Dude, anytime I could eat charcoal, I'm all about it.
Do you smoke meat at all, Mario?
No. I haven't. My
dad
does.
He smokes meat. He smokes meat.
I like smoked meat.
So here's where I want to go with it. The same people that, say, because Brian would be in a pretty severe minority, I think, in saying that he doesn't like the taste. I think generally people prefer the taste of charcoal, but they don't want to do the work.
Yeah, but we don't really trust Brian's taste buds, right?
That's true too. I've eaten his burgers. Hey, nobody got sick. Nobody went to the hospital.
So, I feel like the same people that tell me they don't want to spend the time on charcoal are the same people that'll spend 10 hours smoking a brisket. That logic sucks. You won't spend an extra 10 minutes lighting charcoal, but you'll watch something for 10 hours. I don't understand that.
He made you walk right into that, Mario.
I don't smoke meat though. I like it.
I like it too. And this isn't a beef on smoking meat. It's a beef on that, you're in a rush for it.
You have a charcoal grill, is that what you're telling me? You
Only.
live in a mansion and you have a
Only.
charcoal grill?
He does. And it took like 55 minutes the last time that I was over there. Don't you remember? It took
You had to
forever.
get that charcoal tasted hot dog.
I had time to run to McDonald's, grab a burger, come back, and then I threw his in the pond behind
It's
the
so
house.
untrue. It's so untrue. Mario, do you happen to have the picture teed up? I want to help people out here because I want to encourage people to give the charcoal a chance because it's a game changer.
Cody,
And
I
this
won't
is-
lie. I've never used a charcoal grill. It's a little intimidating because there's a lot of
It
steps
takes a man.
involved. and
I
don't really know
get why
them.
you're intimidated. It takes a man.
Yeah. My beard is not long enough yet.
Well, that would apply to me too then. All right, so this baby's a chimney. And so I feel like a lot of people that charcoal grill, they want the matchlight charcoal or they douse it in lighter fluid and then they about blow their hand off. This baby's the answer. You stuff some paper in the bottom, you put charcoal on the top, and you light it. And it literally works like a chimney in your house where the smoke rises through the charcoal and it lights all the charcoal. 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, and she's ready to cook. And I know it's 10 extra minutes. But that's my favorite part of grilling is that 10 minutes because I grab a beer, I sit there, I watch smoke billow out of my chimney. I look over my neighbors walking by and I give them the finger. It's a nice little 10 minutes. I just slug my beer and tell people to pound salt. It's not the busy part of grilling. I'm not flipping anything. I'm not adding cheese. I'm not doing any of that.
Can you tell me what pounding salt means?
Like an F off.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Go kick rocks.
That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
eerily similar to what I have to do with my propane grill, which is because the igniter doesn't work anymore. I now have to light it from the bottom underneath the grill and then let that light the rest of the burners.
Just get charcoal, man. You're already
I mean,
there.
It's probably a lot cheaper, isn't it? Because it's basically
No.
just a pit.
Probably
It-
not
it's
much
probably the
cheaper.
same.
Just you gotta buy charcoal. So I don't know. I don't know cost wise. I wouldn't say it's significantly different.
But that
significantly
could
different.
double for Christmas gifts for my nephew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Propane for convenience is a comment, which I get the convenience, but then you better not be somebody that smokes meat because there's nothing convenient about smoking meat. But I feel like it's always the same people. You guys aren't giving me much here.
Cody, I will give you this.
I don't have
Look, I don't have
I don't
much, of an
have
argument.
much to give.
It's just
Yeah,
the
like
only thing.
you're expecting us to argue back at this, and we're really both just too lazy to
I
do
want to
it.
fight. I want
It's
to.
very true.
I
I am too lazy, and
Brian
I'm currently.
owns like 8 toaster ovens. Like he's not even gonna get to the grill.
Cody,
And
I
for
don't know if
me-
you watch King of the Hill at all, but there is an
No.
episode where Hank, the main character, who is a propane salesman, talks about tasting the meat, not the heat. He actually is cooked a burger that is on a charcoal grill, and he actually likes it more than his propane burgers.
Well, everyone does. Everyone likes charcoal meat more than propane. That's standard.
I mean,
Par for the
honestly,
course.
Cody, being at your house that one time was probably one of the only
Espresso
times
house.
I've eaten charcoaled meat. And honestly, it wasn't that memorable.
about right.
So that's
Here's
where
part
I'm
of-
at.
Wow.
Here's part of what I like about it though. I legitimately think it tastes far better.
Yeah, get
there
you away
is
from
a
away from
little-
kids a little bit longer. I get it.
You get to slug a beer where you're sitting. You get to watch the smoke billow out of it, and neighbors are looking. I had a lady like 6 doors down one time. She's walking by. She's like, "I can smell that all the way at my house. It smells great." My chest gets a little bigger in that moment. I'm like, "Yeah, you do smell
It's
my
like,
charcoal
you're
grill.
killing
You
the
aren't kidding."
environment.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I think we've gone deep enough on that. House does have some strong opinions, but maybe you'll just get them from him next episode for you, Cody. And then you can respond.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. I'll take it because he's dead wrong.
You guys can't. Oh. Wait, it sounded like he was like agreeing with you, but we all kind of agree
okay.
with the propane for the convenience. But you like to get away.
Well, I just think when you're talking 10 minutes, what's the convenience? I don't think that that's enough to change the world.
That's
That would be
very
my
that's
opinion.
very dude. I could do a lot of things in 10 minutes.
3 times.
10 times. He's like, all right. We're gonna lose. Cody,
All right.
kick us off. I am gonna try to reconnect here. So you kick us off with some of this news and tell me if it's relevant or not.
Okay, cool. So, Brian, I'll kind of pitch these to you a little bit. So, Alan Lazard and Jacoby Myers both signed their tenders today. Got to be good news, right? I mean, it's especially Alan Lazard is a guy that's some excitement there. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's not huge news because this was expected. But Lazard, Jacoby Myers, both gonna have decent years this year. Lazard, we're obviously expecting a step up for him. Jacoby Myers had a pretty good year last year. You know, he had that touchdown drought throughout the
Finally
year.
a touchdown. Yeah.
So yeah, he's coming back, playing with Mac another year. He'll probably do a little bit better, we would expect. Not the biggest news, but it is good to see.
Yeah. Mario wants us to make sure we still keep talking about Jerry Judy's groin in June.
Oh
So, do you care yet? Because I know we didn't care much last week.
No.
Me neither. Jerick McKinnon signed back with the Chiefs again. You know, I think there's a couple of guys in our group with some CEH love. What are your thoughts on McKinnon? Any threat?
I'm not a CEH lover. I do like McKinnon, and I do think he could I mean, but he didn't really steal a role last year. He didn't really carve out a role for himself last year. So like him coming back,
Right.
Not that big of a deal. I'm sure there will be some big plays that he has because that's just kind of like who Jerick McKinnon is. He has a couple big plays. He gets hurt.
Yep.
So, I mean, I like him. I wish they would have given him a bigger chance, but it doesn't seem like they're willing to.
It really doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I agree. You know, this last one here is the one that I think is more relevant personally. I think the T-Mac stuff's really heating up, and I know you've got feelings on McLaurin. What do you think? How do you think this is going to play out?
You talking about him holding out or
holding out, and do you think he gets traded? I mean, how does this end?
I mean, we don't really know until we know, right? Like, I could see it either way, honestly. I could see him getting traded. I could see him going back. I mean, the Washington franchise is just so inept at their job that anything could happen. And they just brought in, you know, Johan Dotson. I think I'm saying that right.
Rook, yeah.
T-Mac's a stud. They might that way. I mean, it's not news until we get around to like preseason, I'd say.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I feel like Washington thinks they're going all in. And I shouldn't say all in, but I think they think they're competitive. None of us really think they're that competitive, but I think they believe they're competitive. And so that makes me think a trade doesn't happen.
I think last year or 2 years ago, they had like one of the top like 3 defenses.
They got Chase Young. I mean, they got a nice young defense. Yeah.
It was last year or 2 years ago. And I was like, man, if they had a quarterback, they would be like competing. And I mean, maybe Carson Wentz can take them to like the playoffs, but that's probably the farthest they're going to get. And that's like a best case scenario.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I don't think they're a real threat. I think Carson Wentz is an upgrade personally. But I don't think they're a real threat, but I think they are. And so I think that means a deal gets done with T-Mac. But I mean, Mario,
but they're so dumb, dude. They're so dumb.
They are.
And they're still going to be third in their division. That doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Very
good. All right.
Very good. Mario's talking to nothing because he's muted for some reason. What a clown.
Look at his face right now. He's like a deer in headlights.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm going to be going on IR, Cody, for this shoulder.
Yeah. Have you decided a timeline? When's it happening?
I have not. And I don't know what the best route to go is for this because, you know, we got school starting back up in August.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to move.
I mean, I feel like you do it. I feel like you for sure try to do it right when school starts. So you get to start the year late, right? That feels like a given.
Well, yes, but that's also bad because then you're a week later behind the kids without knowing them. And then they might get used to a sub or something. I don't know. It's just a mess.
Are you afraid they might fall in love with the sub and not want you back?
Maybe they might, dude. I don't know.
I can understand why they would.
It's like little ducklings, you know, when they're born and they impress on a person if that's the first thing they see. But I don't want to be.
They are your children.
That'd be the second thing.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
I think Mario's at least going to tee us up here on some content. So it looks like we're going to get my 11 through 20 wide receivers, and I'll run through them here. We'll see. Maybe.
Oh, do slide. Keenan Allen.
All right. So we got Keenan Allen at a. I have Keenan Allen. I tell you,
No,
I've
I-
got Justin Herbert love. I got Mike
I
Williams
love
and
Keenan Allen that
high.
high. I do
Yep.
think Mike Williams is a little high, though.
Amari Cooper's at 12. I know I'm going to get a little bit of heat on this one from some people, but I think we still got to see how that QB room plays out. Aaron McLaurin at 13. Obviously, we just talked about some of his news with camp. Mike Williams at 14. T. Higgins at 15. DK Metcalf at 16.
Too high.
Deontay at 17. Darnell Mooney.
How do you have DK over Deontay?
I mean, they're back to back. It's hardly like I've got him 10 spots ahead.
I don't know. Sure seems like it.
All right, got Darnell Mooney at 18. I know you love that one a little bit, Brian.
I actually do like that.
Yeah. Hollywood at 19.
Like, I have no faith in the Bears as an organization at all, but Justin
Yep.
Fields loves Darnell Mooney.
Yep.
And
And
actually,
then
me and you are the two high on Darnell.
Darnell. That
We
doesn't
might be the
surprise
two
me.
high on Waddle too.
I'm the second
no.
highest on Waddle at 20.
No, you're third. No, fourth.
Okay. All right.
All
All right,
so
Brian. Anything you see there you don't love?
yeah, I don't like. I know I talked about DK, but I don't like Deontay either. There were a couple. So let's start with Deontay Johnson though. He's got a new quarterback. And that's the main reason that I'm not a big fan of him. So I'm going to throw some stats at you real quick.
Okay.
So in the past year, I just did this from like the past year that they played. So, Mitch is probably going to be the quarterback. I don't think Kenny Pickett takes over. If Kenny Pickett takes over, I don't know. I'd have to readjust everything. So they have the 26th ranked offensive line ending last year. And so as that, they're more likely to be blitzed, right? At least this is my thinking. I'm just going to lead you on my trail. So
Okay.
because they're more likely to be blitzed, Trubisky was actually like one of the worst in the league against blitzes. And he dropped 12% completion percentage when he was blitzed. He also dropped 1.5 yards on his yards per attempt. So clearly he can't really handle the blitz. While on the other side of the coin, Ben Roethlisberger, as much as we hate him and think he's a despicable human being, and also he's ugly, he was almost
You kind
5%.
of look like Big Ben.
Shut up. He was almost 5% more accurate against the blitz. He actually got better when he was blitzed. And so Mitch was the opposite. You have the spectrum, you have the average. And
Sure.
Mitch is all the way on the negative. Ben is all the way on the positive. The Steelers were also 6th in pressures allowed last year. And so, it's not looking much better. So that's my main talking points against Deontay. And honestly, I kind of just ranked all the Steelers as if the team was just going to be overall worse this year, which they weren't, world shattering or anything last year. I actually love Deontay. I think he's a fantastic player. But I just think it's a little bit too high. I think he'll finish in like the wide receiver 2 range.
Okay. When you say wide receiver 2, like where do you have him roughly?
So right now I have him at 33, which I will admit is a little bit low. I think he is in the I'd probably slot him in around like 24. Probably that's a pretty good spot for me, I feel like.
Okay. Yeah, so I get some of the points you made on Deontay. Here's what I like about him. I just think he's the guy there. Mario and I talked a little bit off screen about how a lot of Chase Claypool love because I think he's just a touchdown touchdown or bust guy, and we saw what the bust looks like, and I don't like bank on touchdowns. And to me, Deontay is that safety net player that a guy like Mitchell Trubisky is going to be looking for. You know, the last 2 years, he had 144 targets in 2020. He had 169 targets last year. I actually think those targets are going to come down because that's an absurd number. But he had 7 and 8 touchdowns the last 2 years. You know, even with me having him come in where he does, which I know you don't love where I have him, I've still only got him for 1,072 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 94 catches. And so I've got him for, 13 less catches, 100 less yards, and a touchdown away from last year. And so I don't feel like I'm shooting for the moon with him here.
That puts you at wide receiver 17.
It does, yeah.
Man,
it's because of the 94 catches. He's a PPR stud.
He will be a PPR.
We had 107 last year.
107 catches. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's wide receiver 13 last year. He's higher than what I have him.
So
I
let
mean,
me
wide receiver 8. He was wide receiver 8 last year, right?
I'm just looking at wide receiver 13 on the screen. Sorry.
That's his average draft.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where he's going.
Oh, roasted.
Okay, that was good. Yeah, I was 8th there. That's for sure.
I just think Mitch is going to take him back further than just like, what do you have him at 16? 8 spots. I think Mitch will drop him lower than 8 spots. And while it could be like a good situation, because I think the Steelers are one of the best run organizations and they really know how to scheme to let their players succeed. But, we might see Mitch some games. We might see Kenny Pickett some games. And we're all expecting, especially Mario, Najee to get work. We're expecting Claypool to get some work. We're expecting Freiermuth to get work. Do we really expect that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be able to sustain all 3 or 4 of those guys?
Nope. I think he sustains Deontay. I think your point's fair. I just think Deontay's that safety net. The targets last 2 years says that to me.
And I could see it because, before this started, I was actually sweating a little bit because I looked up like Allen Robinson's stats with Mitch Trubisky, and they're pretty good. And he, he was that safety blanket, and he tossed it to him over and over and over again. And actually, that's a pretty good segue, I guess, into Allen Robinson, who I think you have way too low, Cody. You have him at wide receiver 33.
Yeah.
I have him at 14.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first on this one again. I can probably admit that maybe I'm a smidge low. When I saw you were, giving me a call out here, I was looking like, okay, maybe late 20s, but I don't see it the same way you do with a ceiling. I've loved Allen Robinson for years. You and I have been like the two fanboys of Allen Robinson.
Yeah, that's what confuses me too.
Yeah, I think it might be over. His average receptions, you see the 10.8 last year, the yards per reception. It was 12 the year before that and 11 the year before that. He's not this big play guy anymore to me. I know the QB play led to it. I understand that, but Darnell Mooney had, a little more productivity in that way. And so
I can't really argue with you on that. So he's actually one of my like do or die guys this year, like him, Jalen Hurts, Tua, all these guys that either have to like put up or shut up this year and might flame out of the league if this year goes poorly for them. Allen Robinson is one of those guys, I think. However, I think last year was just him being checked out of the Bears organization and going through another rebuild and never having any sustained success no matter what he's done. I mean, the best quarterback he's ever played with was like Blake Bortles. Like, what do you want from the guy?
No, I love the player. Yeah.
He's like Carmelo Anthony, just playing on terrible teams all the time. And now he's going to a Super Bowl contender who won last year. Robert Woods is gone. He's going to just eat up all those carries, all those catches and everything. I think he just turns it back on. I think he gets into good shape. I think he has breakfast with Stafford and Cup, and he shows out a little bit meatier and just fills in that Robert Woods role because we've seen Robert Woods shine in that offense, and I think he just fills right in.
Well, go back here real quick, Brian. What's Cody have him ranked at? Is it 37?
33, I think.
Oh, I might be looking at the ADP. Hold on. Allen Robinson, Cody has him at 34.
34.
And what's our consensus?
Our consensus is 14.
So
that's crazy to me.
That's super crazy. High.
Actually,
not that crazy.
These are not sorted accurately on my screen, so that's off. You will have to check.
Okay.
Well, look at the average rank off to the.
The average rank off to the right is 26. However,
There you go.
but like if
I
you
mean,
have
that's
like
gonna
4
get you
guys
close.
ranked at like 26 as an average, it's still going to bring them all down, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, he's
I've got
ranked
Allen
27.
Robinson as our 27. Yep. So 26 is very close.
Yeah, he's 27. So I mean, I think that's pretty low as a group too. I have him at 20. You'll see that later in the episode. I think you're kind of crazy for this too, Cody. He's going to an amazing offense. It's going to be with one of, I would say, a top 3 coach. He's one of my favorites, and he has Matthew Stafford throwing to him.
Yeah, it's by
For
a
you
mile
to
the best
think
QB
he's-
of his career. By a mile.
Yeah, for you, and he's going to be the number 2 there.
He is. I just
Like
think
that's a
I just
Robert
think he
Woods
might be
role, and then it
cooked.
was a OBJ when OBJ was there during playoffs. There's so much
has
value
nothing
there.
to do-
You love Henderson there.
It has
and-
nothing to do with the team. I just think he might be cooked.
How cooked?
Listen, guys. Here's why I think he's cooked. Here. Let me give you a little more. Like, people underestimate the years he had with the Bears, and I'm gonna like bite myself a little bit here, but stay with me and it'll make sense. I mean, in 2019 and 2020, he was basically the man in town. Now, Darnell Mooney stepped up last year, but the guy got 154 targets in 19, 151 targets in 20. Those years, he only averaged 11.7 per reception and 12.3 per reception. He wasn't that effective with all of those targets. His catch rate was 60 some, so it's not like he had a crazy catch rate, 60ish%. Not that productive with them, not that many touchdowns on 150 some targets. And I think the targets, they fall off hugely from those numbers. And I think he might just not have it anymore. I mean, he hasn't had a year where he was a big play production type of guy in a very long time. Like, and you might say like, yeah,
2 years ago.
well, if you call 1,200 yards on 150 targets, I don't think that's exceptional production on that target share.
Okay, I guess I see what you're saying. However, I disagree. I mean,
I
that
do
just
too.
shows that
And
he's getting
honestly-
open.
Yeah, not even that. I mean, we chase volume all the time, and if you don't think he's going to find volume on this offense, I think you're a little bit crazy. Like if
I
you
don't
have
think he's going to
anything,
find the volume he had in Chicago those 2 years.
I
maybe
kind
not
of
I don't
think
think he's
you're
getting over
crazy.
150
not
targets.
Dude, but
150.
think about it. Think about all the
120,
failed drives.
130.
But with 120, he's a 950-yard receiver.
Think of
based
how,
on what
how
bad
many TDs?
Chicago. Think of how bad
But-
Chicago has
okay.
been for the last like 5 years, and how many drives just sputter out on 3 and outs and fail.
That's fair.
That doesn't
That's fair.
happen in Los Angeles.
It's a
They-
much better
they
team.
don't-
I'm not arguing you guys on the better team. I've not
And
argued that
Matthew
at all.
Stafford, he throws like 40 times a game, and he's going to throw it to Allen
He's
Robinson.
going to a better
Cody,
team. He's going to a better
I
team.
have him at
no question.
89.
I don't argue a bit.
89, 980, and 7 TDs. That puts him at RB or wide receiver 20 for me.
I find that how many targets? I'm just
125.
curious. And you have 80, how many catches? I'm sorry.
89 catches, 980 yards, 7 TDs.
See, I don't think he has 89 catches, and I think that's where you're a little high based on your target share.
No way.
I don't think he has 89 catches on 120 targets. He had 98 catches on 154 targets. Like, that catch rate's not there.
Once in
But
his
also,
career.
look at the accuracy.
Well, no,
of that
it's been worse
quarterback.
than that, Mario. He had
Again, because
73
that
on
quarterback has been
151
Blake
targets.
Bortles, dude. Like Blake Bortles can't throw a ball.
This is
and that
a-
was his best
Another thing,
better
Brian's
He's on a better
Yeah.
team. You guys don't have to keep beating me up that he's on a better team. Like,
he's
I'm
on a
sure
better
you-
team.
I mean, do you guys have one argument other than he's on a better team? Because
Well,
that's
when
all
you
you keep
are
saying
you,
to
but
me.
you're the counterpoints to that, and you talk about
I'm
his
not.
bad teams and
I'm
how he was
not.
relied on.
I'm not arguing that I'm arguing that he's not good anymore.
We're telling you the catch rate,
And
will
you're
be
not
different
debating me on that at
Coming,
all.
we're telling you a catch rate will be different coming from Matthew Stafford.
Okay, and then say that. I don't feel like you've said that.
That
I mean,
is what
other
we
than
just
maybe
said.
That was what Brian said.
then
That
I
was what
completely
he
missed
said.
Brian saying it. Then I completely missed him saying it.
Yeah, we were talking over him because honestly, we really thought he wouldn't bring anything to the
All
table.
I mean,
I
what
don't
I've
think
heard
we're
13
wrong
times is
about
the
that.
Rams are so damn good. The Rams. That's all I keep hearing.
They are good. They won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you knew that.
I think Allen Robinson's hairline's getting worse than Brian's, and it shows in his stats.
Oh, that dude is gonna come on here and just be pissed at you. We're gonna have him as a guest, and I'm gonna bring him on here.
Listen, like I said from the get-go, you could talk me into, and I could be a little low. I'll own it. I could be a little low. Like, I can see where we have him at 26, 27. I can see where maybe that's where I should be. 14 is crazy to me. He's going to be 29 and just hasn't done it. He just hasn't done it.
He has done it though. What you mean is he's done it in fantasy. He hasn't done it
Yes,
in actual
Correct. I don't think he's
efficiency.
been a very good football player the last 5 years.
Right, but he's been, I want to say close to 14, probably both 2019 and 2020. I don't have the stats in front of me.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. We'll keep it rolling. And there's somebody that I wanted to call you out on, Cody, and it's somebody that was absent from the list, and it really kind of bugged me because I know he's absent from your 1 through 10 as well. And it's Hunter Renfroe. Where is Hunter? And where do you have him ranked? Because then I'll tell you why you're too low.
Let me find him here.
And if you wouldn't mind reading the consensus when you have that up.
Yep. Consensus is 36. I have him at 37.
So you're higher than the consensus. Look at you. No,
I'm right at the consensus, basically. Yeah.
I have him at 18. Another guy that you'll see here later in the show. I don't get it though. He was top 10 last year. Yeah, okay. Devontae Adams is coming to town. Everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have 184 targets available for grabs. Devontae's for sure taking a ton of those. But like how do you not, I guess 37 is far criminally low for a guy that is a reception machine. So if he's given anything from 110 to 130 targets, he's catching 80 to 100 out of those.
Yeah.
And I mean, that by default, what he did last year, as you can see on the screen right now, 103 for 1,038. So he's 10 yards a catch. That's nothing crazy. His touchdowns
before you launch into anything. Yeah, I just wanted to point out the touchdowns. He is not going to finish with 9 touchdowns again.
Sure.
I think he'll have like
and I'm
4.
lower.
I mean, but that's a huge difference just from 9 touchdowns to 4. I mean, that's 30 points right there. Well, 30.
Yeah, but that's not bouncing him out of. If you were to say everything stays the same except for those touchdowns, which I actually pretty much agree with you, that's not bouncing him to the 30s. That bounces him down to maybe the 18, 19, 20 range.
Maybe. I mean, the catches do save him in PPR. You're right. I mean, he's only 1,000. Let's say it's 1,006. That's not a good fantasy season. Now the receptions do help a ton, so I guess it depends what that number is. So here's what I'd say, and I'm going to take a weird approach to it because it has nothing to do with Hunter Renfroe hate. Hunter Renfroe was great last year. I tried to trade for him.
God.
I don't ever almost chase 3 passing weapons in a single offense. And I think Darren Waller and Devontae Adams are probably the 2. And so that has me naturally fading Hunter Renfroe because I think somebody's going to come up short. Even a team, I love the Bengals offense. I'm not chasing Tyler Boyd. I love the Rams offense. I'm not chasing Allen Robinson or whoever you think their third is. And so I struggle chasing 3 weapons in a single passing offense. I just don't think it happens very often at all.
And that's fine. But I think you're still missing.
So I got to fade somebody. If I'm going to raise Hunter Renfroe significantly, and again, this is a player where I think with any of us,
you don't have to chase him.
Yeah, I think there's room. Well, I mean, I'm putting him for his projection. I think he's going to go for, so that's naturally determining if I'm gonna I'm not just going to rank him higher because I think somebody else should value him more than me. I'm going to rank him.
What do you want me to ask? What is your projection for him?
Yeah, let me go to it for it. Yeah, let me get to it here. Give me just a sec.
Because I'm going to tear it up. I think
that's fine.
You're going to say something like 60 receptions, and I'm going to puke.
No, 78 for 956 and 6.
So you have him for more yards.
No, it's not more yards.
No,
more yards. More yards per catch. More yards per catch.
Well, 10's hard to repeat. That's a low number for a receiver.
That's
all the low number for him though.
So you're accepting him a 30% decrease from reception share here.
Yeah, I don't think when you add one of the top 3 receivers in the game, I don't think that's a crazy thing.
Do you think the other sort of targets that I just mentioned go somewhere else that we're not paying attention to?
Well,
I think Jacobs gets more. Kenyon Drake picks up some.
Other guys. I think you're taking everyone who left the team and just trying to put them. I think they are spread out. I think a little bit of that. You think it's just going to 3 guys.
I'm just saying that if we're missing 184 receptions already or targets.
Yeah, I've got Devontae Adams for 150 of them.
Fine. Yeah. So then we probably need to still spread out maybe 50 from others?
50 to 100.
No way.
Yeah. And they're going so now we're short targets then, Mario. Even at 50 we're short targets. We only have 35 more to spare.
So how do you have to spread out 50 to 100 when you're sustaining?
It just happens with guys. Because wide receiver 4 and 5 are going to get 50 to 100 targets combined. I think.
I don't think that's true.
I think you're talking 40 and 20 or 30 for like a wide receiver 4 and 5.
I
That
would say
be
40 and 20 sounds about right. Yeah.
okay. So 60. So at 60,
Yeah.
we're running a negative 25 targets.
And he
Good way
takes
to
down
work together, guys.
And he makes down, if you take him 25 targets down, he averages 10 catch and he averages about what, an 80% catch
How many
rate?
targets did he have last year? Maybe could be where I'm low. Like I'm willing to move on him. I'm not. This
I
isn't
think you need
steadfast
to.
for me. What was his
I think
target?
he had
last year?
130. I think he had
I
130.
have him for 110. So I'm right on what I'm saying. I mean,
But his catch rate drops grossly on yours.
78 catches on 109 is a great catch rate, though.
70 is a good catch. 70, say it again.
78 for 109. I mean, that's like a 70% catch rate. That's great.
Didn't you just
it
whip
might-
on
it
Allen
might drop,
Robinson
but
for
it's
having like
great.
a 68% catch rate?
Yeah.
Those couple
Hunter
years, I think it
Renfro's
was
is
like 62.
great. Hunter's is great now.
Well, I mean,
was-
you like it,
He was 103 on 128 last year.
which is just absurd. You got to think that comes down a little. I mean,
That's an 80%
that's-
catch rate.
I
80
just don't
plus,
think he
right?
gets,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get as much work. I mean, I'll be the simple man here.
All right, we'll leave it off on the simple man then and keep it
I'll look at it.
rolling.
How about I give you that? I'll look at it.
Yeah. No, I think we had a good enough discussion, and I think Brian did pretty much end it
Yeah.
on a good note. Brian, give your 11 through 22 receivers.
No.
No.
Number 11, I have Tyreek Hill.
Don't do it in your teacher voice, dude.
That's not a
Show
teacher
some
voice. Keep
excitement.
going. Go to number 12. Roll the slides, Jimothy. 12, I have Terry McLaurin, OSU
Team
alum.
back. There you
DJ
go.
Moore at 13. Allen Robinson at 14, who we just talked about. We've got Packers future Hall of Famer, Alan Lazard.
Too bad he's already old.
Stop it. He's like 26. He's Brown at 16. Brandon Cooks at 17. Ageless. Amari Cooper at 18.
That's high.
I know. I want to stop
I
at
have him
Amari
even higher.
Cooper real quick. And I actually want to drop Amari quite a bit. Because I told you that I updated my ranks the other day. I think I only really updated my quarterbacks. I basically moved Deshaun Watson to 35th or something. Because I just don't
And that's gonna swing everything because I'm just not moving on Deshaun until we know something. And so that's I mean, it's so hard.
I mean, I'm just going off the most I was just in a mood to look at my ranks the other day, and that I moved quarterbacks around a bit, and he was the one I moved the most because I was like, man, it really is shaping up to he's not
It's not looking
play.
good.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
not
Okay,
looking
keep going. DK at 19. And 20, Darnell Mooney. All right, Cody, give it to me.
I just this isn't even something that I planned, but I just noticed it in your rankings. And it's nothing bad. It's just interesting to me. You got Jalen Waddle over Tyreek Hill.
Are you sure?
That's super intriguing.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
He does.
Waddle
He
10
does.
and Tyreek 11.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's not like he's way over him.
Hold on, Mario,
it's
are you
really
sure they're not
interesting.
equal and it's just sorting them that way? 'Cause I
No,
might have
actually,
put my
Cody
equal at the
Cody
top.
has an equal. He has 220s.
He
was the first time that I saw that.
I have Dobbins, Chubb, Najee, and Joe Mixon all at 7 or something.
Is it on purpose?
Yeah,
You're just like, I like them all the same. Like,
I really do like all
Yeah.
of them pretty much the same. If you asked me to pick one of them, Mixon's probably the safest. Dobbins is probably your boomer bust. Chubb's really safe as well. Najee's probably really safe. I love all of them. After your top 3 guys, that's probably my next 4. Anyway,
Wait, you have Dobbins in your top in number 7 spot?
okay,
think
he
you
owns
do.
them in Dynasty. You know how this goes with Brian.
dude, I don't see how
He
you
owns
guys
Brandon
are so
Cooks too.
low
Do you
on
see him at wide receiver 17?
Brandon Cooks was
The I feel like he has more of an argument for Brandon Cooks at 17 than he does at JK.
Probably
at
true.
7.
Probably true.
I like JK. That's just high. Cody, did you? wanted
No,
to
I
get
hadn't.
at-
I was just kind of asking about the Waddle and the. I mean, and I don't really care. It
I
was
like
just
Jalen
interesting.
Waddle, and he's already got a year with Tua. That's probably why I ranked it like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I honestly, defenses are going to key in on Tyreek. He's newer there. They might not game plan in the same way as they did in Kansas City because I mean he was the focal point of that offense. So I pretty much just the year. I mean, Also, Waddle and Tua played together in college, right? Am I wrong on that? I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. So they have a little bit of chemistry from that as well. But I mean, that was basically my reasoning for that.
Yeah. So the player I want to call you out on, and I'll say this: you and I are the two ends of the spectrum. I'm borderline the low guy on him. I have him 23. Our consensus has him at 19, and you've got him at 13. It's DJ Moore, and I like DJ Moore. I really do. I've got a big Sam Darnold problem, and so receptions and yards are great. He's never scored TDs. His career high is 4, literally 4. He's never scored touchdowns. He had 163 targets last year. And he still only finished 18th overall, but it was 29th in points per game. So with 163 targets, 29th in points per game, because he just doesn't put it in the end zone. Sam Darnold, I mean. And so, I don't think Sam Darnold fixed anything. And so, to have him 13, if somebody wanted to say, hey, 18, 19, 20, okay, finished there last year, you think he'll repeat. But 13, I don't see upside like that at all.
Mario, while I talk, can you find me just what the points difference was between wide receiver 13 and wide receiver 18 last year?
Sure.
So basically, DJ Moore, I can definitely be swayed on this, Cody. This is not a guy I'm in love with. It's somebody who every single year it seems like drops in drafts and you kind of steal him. I mean, honestly, Allen Robinson was kind of this way as well. He's like an underperformer. Brandon Cooks is another one that seems, he's like a stud and he just kind of gets overlooked. I think this is the year that DJ Moore breaks that 4 touchdown streak. He's going to get the insane targets again, no matter who his quarterback is. I actually kind of base this ranking.
It is a baseless ranking. You're right.
Kind of. Back when all the Baker Mayfield rumors were flying around, I kind of based it on that as well. I think if Baker goes there, which is a huge if, doesn't seem like it's happening anymore. But Baker is a lot better than Sam Darnold. So while I was just talking, Mario got me the stats there. Between wide receiver 13 and 18, there was only an 8-point difference last year. So I really don't think...
always tight.
Yeah, so that's why I don't really think I can get beat up over the ranking him 13. I just think he has more touchdowns this year. That's literally, it's not any, strong love with DJ.
Does history kind of make you think more touchdowns with him? Is that what it is? You like what he did in the past, touchdown wise?
Of course. I love it. I love everything he does.
You love all 4 of those touchdowns every year?
All 4 of them. I can count them.
I don't have DJ Moore at 13, but to Brian's point, DJ Moore is a stud wide receiver. So
he is.
I consider him very closely in the current T-Mac situation. Scores more touchdowns, of course. And how D-Hop used to be, of course, not to that level, but like D-Hop was quarterback proof. DJ Moore is pretty much quarterback proof. You just can't find the end zone.
He's quarterback proof as long as he gets the targets, because, and I don't, not that I don't think he will, but like to say he's quarterback proof, not really in the sense that he's never put up big yards or big TDs. He just gets a ton
over
of
1,000 3 years in a row.
What are you talking about?
Okay, but how many guys get over 1,000 each year? 20? Not quite 20, but I mean, it's
that high.
It's
not 20.
Okay,
it is like
17.
It's like 10.
I don't think so.
Might be low.
Yeah, I think you're low. I mean, honestly, it sounds bad, but like 1,000 yards doesn't like get me.
But to do it 3 years in a row, that's
good. It's consistent.
I feel like it's a
because he doesn't get hurt either.
Safe 1,000 yards though. Like, there's a lot of other guys that you could call me out on here that I would feel less safe with drafting. Like, for example,
you are a spot away from.
I wouldn't feel great about drafting Allen Lazard at the same place, who I have 2 spots later than DJ Moore. Allen Lazard's more of a boom or bust, but I feel like DJ Moore is a very safe pick. Especially, I think
anytime you are putting a Sam Darnold receiver 1 spot from being a wide receiver 1, it's more out there than you're giving it credit. I mean, Sam Darnold was throwing.
Who else is he going to throw to though?
26 guys had 1,000 yards last year, Brian. Whoop-de-dee-da-day. You like that one? You never like my little things.
You're gonna just ignore the receptions and the targets now? Let me flip my scripts because
you
proved me wrong once.
No, I like the reception. What I'm saying is that's all he has is the targets. He doesn't put up big yardage numbers. He doesn't put up big touchdown numbers. He is 1,000% reliant on 160 targets. And that's okay. I'm not saying I dislike DJ Moore that much. I just think when you're telling me a guy's a borderline wide receiver 1 because he gets a bunch of targets from Sam Darnold, I'm not buying. I don't like that. I don't like that argument.
So if they trade for Baker, does it change anything for you?
Mildly. I mean, so I've got him at like, what do I have him? 23, 24. It probably puts him at 18 or 19. I'm not going, it's not going to be a borderline wide receiver 1 for me. I really don't think so.
So Cody, I actually think it's kind of funny that we're talking about him right after Hunter Renfrow, because these are kind of what is expected, at least out of me, for like Hunter Renfrow for this year. Like little over 1,000 yards, not a lot of touchdowns, a lot of catches, kind of a Wes Welker type role, real gym rat, first in, last out.
Are you saying that DJ Moore's stat lines from 21 is what you expect Hunter Renfrow to do this year? Is that
I know what you're going to say already, Mario. And I was going to use it to help your arguments against Cody.
It's wide receiver 18.
What?
You guys are too low. That's wide receiver 18.
I mean, possibly.
Sorry, what was wide receiver 18?
That stat line is wide receiver 18. Excuse me.
Sorry,
that stat line.
What's stat line?
93
What's stat line? I'm trying to get a little more.
1,157 yards and 4 TDs is wide receiver 18. The wide receiver 18 is 93 for 1,157 and 4 TDs. Thank you.
What was it? One more time.
How many yards was it?
That's Hunter Renfro's stat line, and you guys need to rank him higher. Any last thoughts on DJ Moore? Because I don't have much to say here after I found out that there's 29 players in 2019 that have had 1,000-yard receiving.
When I finally revisit my drafting, God, Mario, let me talk. You just said any more thoughts, and then you just kept rambling. When I finally revisit my wide receiver rankings.
I'm glad you two are at each other now instead of at me.
I didn't even hear what you said because
I'm glad you two are going at each other now.
Sorry, no,
Brian, were you trying to say something? Brian, were you trying to say something?
I said when I revisit my wide receiver rankings, DJ Moore is going to drop a bit.
Oh, okay. So he's dropping.
Why would you drop him? I mean, it's not even egregious if he's at 13 versus 18. Why would you even bother dropping him? What's it matter?
I don't think it's egregious.
All right. We're moving on.
But I also don't like DJ Moore that much.
Somebody is clearly missing from your top 20 that I couldn't handle. Where is he? Where is
he really? Wait, hold up. Wait. Before Brian goes, is he really going as wide receiver 12 in drafts right now?
That's right, he is.
Wow.
I think that's insane that he's going wide receiver 12 in drafts.
Because you guys are both idiots, though. You guys just don't understand how good he is.
Where do I have him? Wait. Where do I have him? You act like I hate him.
I think you have him at 15, Cody. I think 15? I have him at like 22.
Brian, can you? I don't know. Cody, can you pull it up so that we're not guessing on this?
Yep, I'm working on it. Go ahead,
my screen's used. Brian, you have T. Higgins at insert Cody.
I'm still looking for him here. Got him. Brian 25, me 15, Mario 11.
25.
25. 11? Hold on. I think 11 is just as egregious.
Okay. Do you think 15 feels right, guys? I feel like it does.
No, you're still wrong.
I feel like it kind of does too. And
thank you.
In fact, didn't T. Higgins only have like an absurd last 6 games of the year that really picked him back up? Because I remember earlier in the year. Hold on, who was it? Who was it I traded T. Higgins for last year?
Wait, I don't think anybody cares who you traded for him. Let's talk about those 6 games.
No. I just want to know because I want to point out to you. I want to point out to you. I wanted to point out to you how low his value was midway through the year, because he had a great second half of the year, but the first half of the year was not fantastic. Either way,
no, it wasn't. You know why?
As Cody,
because he was playing with a torn labrum.
Up. As Cody has brought up multiple times, I just don't think Joe Burrow has it in him to really sustain, 2 top.
I had more of an issue with the third guy. Just to be clear.
What's that, Cody?
I have more of a concern with the third, not the second. The third wide receiver.
I mean, I have a concern with the 2 because that's just I don't know, man. I like Burrow. Do I think he can sustain 2 wide receiver 1s? I really don't. And so I pretty much ranked it as that. And Jamar Chase got the extra bump and T. Higgins was the one that dropped down a bit. I mean, there's really no other argument. You see, you guys are always leaning harder on stats and stuff, and I lean on it more from like a team perspective and like whether it's sustainable or what's changed year to year. They're talking about lining Chris Evans out wide. I'm not saying that's really anything because obviously, they have always had their wide receiver 3s and 4s. Tyler Boyd's there still. I don't know. I just think the Bengals are going to kind of take a step back from Super Bowl contending team. I'm not saying they're not a good playoff team, but I feel like everybody felt like it was kind of a miracle run in the playoffs last year. And like, I just don't really, I think the Browns are taking the division,
Oh, let me interject something here real quick, Mario, that I think will be helpful for this conversation. I think this gets hard sometimes in this wide receiver 2 area because we all have these guys remarkably close together. So like Brian's stat line for T. Higgins is 72 for 10, 54, and 7. It's not like that's an egregious stat line per se. That just happens to land him at wide receiver 25. And so, if I look at Brian's wide receiver 13 through 29, they all range between 215 and 230. We're talking like a 15 to 20 point range for north of 10 guys.
And that's the hard thing about ranking them preseason because there's always injuries that are going to take place and guys are going to miss games. And that's what ultimately ends up bumping them around. And, you look at sustainability, which I don't think T. Higgins has really, like last year, I want to say he played in all 17 games. But, there's always chances of freak injuries. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I'm just saying when you have to rank preseason based on that they're going to play an entire season, it does get tougher. I just don't think that the Bengals are going to be able to sustain 2 top 10 receivers or 2 top 12.
Am I good? Can I tell you my points now? Now that we heard you talk about the Bengals sustaining 2 top 12 guys, am I good to go?
No.
Because I've been biting my tongue for a while, and I haven't got to talk about this. I was the one that called you.
But have you seen him play?
From weeks 5 through 17, he sat the last game due to playoffs. He was wide receiver 9. He was out weeks 3 and 4 from a messed up shoulder. I'm pretty sure it was a torn labrum, something that you're familiar with. In his last 6 games,
he went 2 weeks with that.
That's right, because he's a stud.
What's wrong with you, Brian?
6-month recovery time.
In his last 6 games, he went 50 targets, 37 receptions, 645 yards, and 4 TDs. Let's just do it for fun, shall we?
No.
The 18-game season of that is 105 targets or receptions, 1,827 yards, and 11 TDs.
Tell me you actually statted out 18 games. I'm going to love every second of this if you did.
17 games to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a monster. And I think the part that and I'm going to be honest with you guys, and this may be more of a call out than I should. I think the part that you may have not seen him play enough. He is so good.
What are you barking up my tree for?
It's what is it? Shrapnel?
Yeah.
Just because you're lower than me. Anyway.
You know what's funny, Mario, is I will give you that because I think last year when I did, I literally held him for like 1 week. I think I mentioned to you, I'm like, I think T. Higgins might be the player I have watched the least out of all these top receivers. And I'm not gonna deny it, act like I watch every game.
I'll send you highlight videos tonight.
I watched the playoffs last year. He is a dog. I'm not gonna discredit that, but he's just somebody that I don't really watch that much. And so, I mean, that definitely plays into my rankings.
Well, I will send you the highlight video tonight because he looks amazing. I watched a lot of Cincinnati games because I became a Cincinnati fan last year at some point when the Browns were just letting me down. I don't know. Gallup the eye test is incredible too, dude. Like I couldn't get over it. I got to watch him. He actually played more than I thought. I think he was in about 6 games last year, and I thought it was closer to like 3. Oh,
Andy Dalton loved him. What was it, 2 years ago?
The New Orleans catch that Gallup had in the end zone. Amazing. All right, let me get into my wide receiver rankings now.
Please.
And it's a good segue into number 11. T. Higgins. Number 12, Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown. Number 13, Keenan Allen. I feel a little high on that one. 14, Terry McLaurin. 15, Allen
Speaking of feeling
Lazard,
high,
the Lizard. 16, Debo. I don't feel great about that one. 17, Jalen Waddle. 18, Hunter Renfro. 19, AJ Brown. And 20,
Cody, before we get
Allen
into this,
Robinson.
man.
just real quick looking at these,
What?
do you feel like
Great,
there
beautiful.
is a tier break, like from like tier 2 to tier 3? And if so, where is it?
I think I see, for me, tier 2 to tier 4. I see 5 wide receiver 3s and 4s to me
Okay, but like if you had to put a spot
What?
where the break
after
is,
T-Mac.
okay, I was thinking after Keenan Allen, but yeah, I would pretty much agree with that. I just do think that you are there's like maybe 15 guys in this draft that you're feeling pretty good about, and then the rest is kind of looking some
Well, and I
different
think, but I think
situations
Mario's rankings are probably jading that a little, because when we look at that after, we got with like guys like Alan Lazard, Hunter Renfro, and Allen Robinson. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing he has those guys a decent chunk higher than their ADP currently. And that probably makes you feel like that. Like he's going to have some guys in his 20s that are higher ADP.
Oh, I'm sure, but
guys.
I do think, like, looking at these,
A-Rob might not be, Cody.
Maybe
looking
not.
at these, I don't feel like any of these would really be that insane to see, drafted at these spots, though. But I'm
Lazard's
sure there's at
not
least
getting
one you
drafted
want
any-
to call him out.
Lazard's getting drafted two rounds after where he's got him ranked there, at least. I mean,
That's
Lazard's
fair.
one is like wide receiver 40 or 50.
Yeah, Lazard's going late.
And
yeah.
I
Hunter
think
Renfro is at
47.
29. And
Who was?
Allen Robinson's at 30. Renfro is at 29. Allen Robinson's at 33.
Oh, dude. So you're
And-
telling me I'm perfectly consensus on A-Rob and you tried to beat me up for a half an hour? You clowns.
wrong.
You clowns.
Just because you're on consensus with everyone else doesn't make it right.
Yeah, consensus doesn't win championships.
You guys beat the pulp out of me for agreeing with the rest of the world.
Okay. What was consensus on Corderell last year?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not sure what
exactly.
that has to do with A-Rob.
Let's kick it off because there's a guy that you guys are. Well, it's actually you, Cody, that you're lower on him than I am.
Yeah. And it's not a player I necessarily dislike. I think it's just pretty high with kind of the circumstances. Give me the love with Hollywood Brown, because this is I want to like this. Like I like Hollywood Brown. So sell me on him.
It's pretty easy. I mean, he was wide receiver 16 through week 13.
Up until Lamar Jackson got hurt.
Week 14 is when Lamar got hurt, but he got hurt early. He only had 4 passing attempts when he got hurt. So I didn't count week 14. So Hollywood Brown was week 16 through that time. And before this year, where Baltimore was throwing like crazy, he is going to an offense that threw 100 more times last year, about 175 times more the year before, and about 150 times the year before. So he's going to a pass heavy offense.
Repeat that for me again. You're saying Baltimore threw less than Arizona last year?
Which is obvious, right? Yeah.
I think Baltimore had more pass attempts last year.
No.
Okay.
Wait.
I thought they did.
Wait. They might have.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Which was weird. Which was a weird year, though.
They didn't run as much last year. I mean, they had the running back.
They had
injuries,
no running
like J.K.
backs.
Dobbins. That's right.
I also dug into it when Lamar Jackson did go down, and I want to say Huntley averaged like 30 plus passing attempts a game, which was pretty. Yeah. I was shocked to see that because I thought it was going to go the other way
last year.
I thought they were gonna run it more once Lamar went down, like with their running game, and they were like, "No, we're just gonna sling it."
I have 100 last year. I have him throwing 100 times more than last year than Baltimore, but I might be wrong.
I'll look it up. Keep going. I'll look it up again. Go ahead.
So I mean, I'm just curious how you can be so low when he's coming into this. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 for 6 weeks, and then even better, he's going to be the wide receiver 2, which he's never been with Baltimore. I'm okay with that. Be the wide receiver 2 on the offense that seems to not really look at DeAndre Hopkins that often.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to be the speed guy. You're going to be the Christian Kirk in this offense, and you're a faster Christian Kirk.
Maybe that's part of my beef is I have Christian Kirk hate. And I actually think the same thing as you, that he's falling right into that Christian Kirk role. And that gets
Not
me a
in the
little
first
less
6 weeks,
excited,
though.
but it might not in the first 6 weeks. That's fair. But 6 weeks is, I mean, I don't
And
want
they
to
played
say
together in college.
I don't want to say 6 weeks is nothing, but I can't draft a guy based on just 6 weeks to some
That's
degree,
a third of the
especially when
season.
we're talking this high, especially when you're talking sneaking him into wide receiver 1. That I think that's a little risky. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were
Well,
like,
yeah,
oh,
I'm
I'm going to
not
draft
drafting
this guy.
him 13th, though.
Okay. I mean, you're
I'm gonna
valuing
go.
him
I'm
there.
gonna
Maybe
go
that's the way
above
I
the
should say
ADP.
it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go above the ADP, but I'm not gonna draft him at 13th.
Baltimore, I have Baltimore at 35.9 attempts per game last year, and but maybe we're just looking at a different site and it's somehow way off. But I've got Arizona at 34.7. So you're talking
attempts.
20.
Oh, you know what
20
I
attempts.
looked? You know what I looked? Kyler Murray versus Lamar.
That
Because
makes
that's
sense.
what I wanted
That
to
makes
know.
sense. That makes sense. Because obviously Lamar missed time.
Yeah, I
Okay.
looked at Kyler Murray versus Lamar, and Kyler Murray missed some time too last year, so it was also that also skewed it. But the years prior, it was 175 more on Arizona and 150 more. And I think I more than think that Baltimore is going to get back to that sort of offense.
No,
So I just think
I
it's going to be a
agree.
pass-heavy offense.
Yeah, no. I guess here's where it is for me. And I, like I said, I wanted you to sell me on Hollywood Brown. You don't have to I've got him at 19. It's not like I dislike the guy that much. I just look at he really did get a ton of work last year. He had 146 targets, 10th in the league. I think when you say he's going to this pass heavy offense and 6 games without DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. But even with those things considered, do you really picture him finishing higher than 10th in targets? Maybe if you say 10th, I'm okay with it. But I don't think he's going to 5th in targets. And so I have trouble.
I think it's different targets though.
To some degree, yeah. But I mean, okay, give me what you think there, because I don't think Kyler is an aired out guy. I know that's kind of the role they picture for Hollywood, but I picture Lamar a little more that way in terms of his receivers. I mean, I don't think Hollywood Brown was an under. You know what I'm saying? I think the role's the same. Do you not really? The targets are similar.
Baltimore was aired out a lot to Hollywood, and I think
that
I think we're going to see a lot more. At least in weeks 1 through 6, we're going to see a lot more. I don't know, ins, outs, slants, everything.
But do you think those are more valuable targets? I think that's a downgrade in terms of what the target is.
I think the catch rate is higher.
Yes, catch rate could be higher. Yeah, and so maybe you want to sell it on receptions and PPR. I think the potential upside of those targets is probably lower.
What's your stat line for him?
But he's going to be going against DB2 or second DBs rather than first every week. I mean, so you have that working in his favor on those slants and those short routes.
Let me find him.
I have him for 90, 11, 25, 7 TDs. I just am curious how far we're.
Sorry, say that again. 90, 11. Say it again.
90, 11, 25, 7 TDs.
We have him for basically the same stat line. And this is a perfect thing again, Mario, that I mentioned with Brian's, where I was like, well, don't beat him up too bad because he's got 8 points separating where you want him to be and where he is. It's the same thing again. I've got, let me see here. I've got 8 guys between 240 and 247 as far as points. I have a lot of guys bundled very close. That group includes, Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Darnell Mooney, Hollywood. I mean, there's a lot of guys right in there. And so maybe we don't have much different.
It finishes that way. That way. There's a lot of about
very
211,
tight.
I think, typically to 240. There's a lot of wide receivers that will fall there.
That's really your probably wide receiver 2 and 3 window for the most part, honestly.
Yeah. That's interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a similar stat line. Like I said, I wanted you to sell me, and so really we have the same stat line. I guess I'll say I think you've probably got your wide receiver 12 statted out a little too light. That's what I would say in response.
So go heavier on Hollywood.
Well, I mean, I think I don't.
He's going to go add on another, 600 yards. I don't think 1107 actually will end up as wide receiver 1 in all likelihood, if that makes sense. That would be what I would say. 1107 is not a giant stat line.
90 receptions.
I guess the 90 receptions is maybe, I guess, where
I think that's right in the 15 area.
Because that would put him at 240.
So I put him. Yeah, ish. No, you would have him lower.
Let's go back and talk about Hunter Renfrow.
No, it's 240.
240. Okay, because I've got him at.
Yeah.
I actually think I might even have him for more. Let me see here. Where'd he go? Yeah, I got him for 243. So I guess, here's where it is. I mean, it's not that I
So
guess I
wide receiver 12. Wait, 17 through 12 was 238 to 246. So
17 through 12. So
Yeah.
12 was 240. What was it again?
12 was 246. Well, wide
And I've got
receiver
mine
was
at 247.
Well, wide receiver 18. Let's go to wide receiver 18 was 237.
Let me see. Mine.
That's
yeah.
so tight.
Yep. It is. And mine are ranked tight. And obviously yours are ranked tight too. And I mentioned it with
They
Brian.
are.
So, I mean,
I'm
that's
just
what we're
lower.
running into here. Yeah. I guess I just, and maybe, I don't know why it is. Maybe there's just guys I like more, even though I haven't statted out for such similar points. But I mean, Hollywood, I don't know. Passing targets go down. I think when I say targets go down, I think just even Hopkins being out 6 isn't enough for him to sustain the targets. I don't know. So here's what it is. I don't hate your stat line. I hate him as a number 1 receiver. Let's go with that.
Yeah, usually you're drafting, though, you could get him as a wide receiver too, and I think that's great value.
Yeah, I'm okay with
I
him as
do.
wide receiver too.
I think
Especially
he's going ADP 25.
In fact, a lot of those guys
Yeah.
that you had listed there,
Wide
Mario,
receiver.
are all pretty great value compared to ADP. Like Renfro, Marquise Brown. I think you had Lazard there.
Maybe I should just be called Save a Lot or
Maybe.
Great Value.
Great value is probably more accurate.
You're probably
because
just going to overdraft all those guys. Is what you're going to do.
He's my favorite.
All right, we're running long, but let's do Allen Lazard. But we all get like 30 seconds, okay? because we could talk on this for an hour. And I want to say one thing before we go. Keep in mind, I have him far higher than consensus, far higher than the ADP. Like, you guys hate where
You
I
have him higher
I
than
know
the
that.
ADP?
Dude, his ADP is wide receiver 54.
Yeah, Mario. He's
Oh, you mean
I haven't-
lower?
Sorry, lower. Well, yeah. I'm drafting him far earlier, twice as early as the ADP.
Yeah, he goes
So
in best ball.
it's going to be hard for you
9
to
or
say I'm
10.
taking a really egregious stance compared to everyone else. I mean, I'm
No, I think
blazingly
the
high
whole
on
world
him.
is sleeping on
and
this,
you're-
though. I really think the whole world is sleeping on this.
Take your 30 seconds. Let's hear it.
Can I have 35?
Yeah,
Mario,
well,
you
you
can
just
have my
lose 5,
30
so you're back to
seconds.
30.
Take my 30 seconds because
I
you're
don't have that much.
probably
I don't
got
have
a
that
bunch
much
of
to say.
stats
I really
back
don't
up.
have that much to say. Wide receiver 20 from weeks 12 to 18. Look, I know what you guys are saying. Like, I like to pull specific parts of the season. It may even sound cherry picked, but the
A lot
thing
of times
is,
it's little
if
windows.
6 weeks is nice. I like to
That's little.
look at the end of the season how they're doing. I did it with Hollywood last season. He did well this year until Lamar went out. T. Higgins is just a different example because that was a huge window, 5 through 17. But Allen Lazard from 12 to 18 was wide receiver 20. He had 8 TDs last year. Here's what I'm having a tough time understanding, Cody. So this isn't necessarily directed at you. The dude finished as wide receiver 47 last year, and his ADP is currently wide receiver 54.
His ADP is way off. Totally agree.
How?
His ADP is way off.
Because you lose a guy that was averaging about 12 to 13 TDs every season, and you're going to say that Allen Lazard isn't going to scoop some of those up? I get it. He had 8 TDs last year, so his wide receiver 47 may have been inflated from that.
Yep.
This is the guy that Aaron Rodgers is going to target. There is nobody on this offense that I fear is going to take away targets from Allen Lazard. You might say Sammy Watkins. I'll laugh at you. If somebody says Christian Watson,
he was just a flyer.
I'll say
He
they
was a
don't
flyer.
believe. You're right. I was wondering if you were coming with any rebuttal. If somebody says Christian Watson, they're insane. It's Lazard. It's Ben Lazard. I don't know what people are sleeping on. That is my 30 seconds. And by 30 seconds, I mean probably 48 or something.
And again, I have him in the 20s, so I like him far.
You're
far
too
more than
low!
what ADP is. Here's the only knock I could see people making. I understand you say it's not going to be anybody else. It has to be him. It's going to be somebody. You're 1,000% right that the touchdowns and targets are there.
I think Tanyan's important too.
I think Tanya's important. Here's the one thing I'll say on Lazard. Last 3 years, he's had 35, 33, and 40 receptions. Remarkably similar. He's had 477 yards, 451 yards, and 513 yards. Remarkably similar. He's had 3 touchdowns, and 8 touchdowns. The outlier is his touchdowns last year. And I don't usually take outliers as a prescription for the future. The outlier is the outlier. And so if somebody wanted to make the knock, I think that's it. To say, hey, if this guy was going to take a leap, and now I know Devontae was there, but like he hasn't shown consistent progression anywhere. The receptions hasn't went up, and I know the targets aren't there. I'm really not trying to knock him. The yards haven't went up. He hasn't made that turn. It's felt like it because everyone's hyped Allen Lazard to some degree, but he's been remarkably the same player for 3 years straight.
His TDs jumped. That's progression.
Well, yeah. But that's the only progression you can't bank on. That's what I'm saying. That's the worst progression you could have.
It's not. I would agree with you on the other 31 teams.
And the touchdowns are available. Everything.
Aaron Rodgers, the touchdowns are going to be available. Aaron Rodgers consistently loves his red zone guys. Dude, this is crazy to me. If you look at Devontae, and I know they're vastly different players. Allen Lazard wasn't even drafted. But if you look at Devontae, his first 2 seasons were not something like, oh, this guy's going to be a stud. They really weren't. Neither two.
I think Lazard's one of those. He's those bigger bodies. He's like 6'5". And so I don't think, 8 TDs. I think that's kind of like the floor for next year. I might sound crazy saying that.
I like it. I like it, Brian.
Like, I kind of view him as like Mike Evans super light. Like, I feel gross saying that. But like Lazard, you watch him look incredibly fast. He doesn't look like he does anything fantastic. He has good route running, and his hands are pretty good. But I do think he's going to be that red zone threat like Mario's talking about. And while I do think that the Packers are going to lean more on the running game with Dylan and Aaron Jones, I think both those guys are going to have amazing years this year. At some point in time, they're going to have to throw it. And this is the guy that Aaron Rodgers yelled at his great value. This is the guy that Aaron Rodgers yelled at his coach to let him play a year or two ago. And that was the reason he got in when he was a rookie. So there is a bit of trust there. Now, how much of that trust is how much of that found after, it seems like Aaron Rodgers has kind of gone on a full ego trip and everything, is left to be seen, but he's got to throw it to somebody. And my bet for that is Lazard. I mean, like Mario said, the other guys are really not worrying you about, maybe Christian Watson. Like, I really don't think it's Sammy Watkins. I don't think
Lazard is my bet too. I mean, I agree with you guys. I'm just trying to put where, and I think the 8 touchdowns and 40 receptions is like the kind of pace that Debo did in the rushing game last year. And you guys hate that. And so you got to be a little realistic and 8 touchdowns and say, whoa.
Cody, I agree with you 100% there. I just don't think he's going to have, I think it'll be like 8 touchdowns on 75 receptions. I don't think it's going to be 40 receptions again. And that's where I think he's going to get
also think
most of the points from.
I think the situation's a little bit different. I mean, when we're talking about Debo, we're talking about these huge plays that he was breaking off. When we're talking about Allen Lazard, we're talking about these short end zone, maybe 10 to 15 yard passes that he was.
But still 8 on 15, 8 on 40 target, 8 on 40 catch.
I know it's high.
Yeah, whatever.
10 on 75. Did you hear me?
Say that again. 10 on 75. That's almost.
I haven't met.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I have him finishing the year.
No, I have a question. Cody, I like what you're doing, Cody, and trying to poke a hole, because I think Lazard is one of those guys that
he doesn't need a hole poked.
No, I'm just saying he's one of the probably most hole poked guys there is. Like, in this,
we don't need more.
This is another one of my guys. I was talking about the make or break guys earlier. This is one of them. It's either this year or never for Allen Lazard.
I like him way over. We all like him.
Yeah. ADP, he's a buy. All right, boys. Did you guys have any last thoughts on anything? Do you guys have any plugs you wanted to fill out?
I expect Twitter to really go and attack Cody for his comments about my hair loss. Yes. It's not something that can be controlled. It happens to over 50% of men in their lifetime, and it's really just a cruel thing to attack, much like height. Cody, I hope your son turns into a 6'7" monster and gets recruited by all the college football teams, and you can't tell him no.
I can't tell if he's so delayed or what. He's dying. We got to close it.
Say, you look better bald, and I like it. So that's why I say it. It looks great. I love it. See, it looks so much better. I love it. This is a pump.
All right. Well, Cody's internet is starting to take take a turn for the worse. We're going to close it out here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DadBodFS, on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, DadBod. And we will be posting our podcast. It's a recording from tonight on Apple Podcast and Spotify and all the other major streaming platforms. For myself, for Cody, who got disconnected, and for Brian, who's already scrolling off the screen. Peace.